And we're on.
Off the cuff.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was
better than the last time.
Yes.
But that was an outtake, so it's okay. Yeah, so what do we want to discuss today? I think we wanted to
martial arts.
Yeah, a little bit of martial arts, a little bit of discussion what we're doing now, right? So let's start with why did you...
I'm not giving you a hug, I'm
That's
trying to
right,
get you
give me a
back
hug
into the...
anytime.
I'm trying to get you back in the...
yeah, perfect. Why did you start martial arts, bro?
So, well, back in the day I used to be a roly-poly, yeah? Meaning...
Yeah, I don't think you're big. There's no big people in Senegal. There's no
Brush,
fat people in Senegal.
I don't try to catch up, bro. No. This guy was saying that there was a lot of fat people in Senegal.
No, there isn't any. I'm not fat shaming, bro.
He's a fat shamer, bro. He's a fat shamer, the ultimate fat shamer.
Go ahead.
No, but basically I used to be big. And when I say big is that I was maybe, 105 kilos.
You're big now?
And
what do you mean you're big?
Yeah, but I was a muscle big. I was fat big.
You're fat, yeah?
Yeah? I was a fat, bro.
I used to be fat as well.
Bro.
I used to be fat as well, yeah? Alright, minor.
So I was big.
Okay, and then so what were you doing in London? What did you study any arts?
So actually in the UK I wasn't doing any martial arts.
Any sports?
That's
any
why
football?
I was doing a little bit of football. You know, at school you have to do football. I was doing things like this.
So just what you have to do at school.
Just what you have to do, bro. The bare
so you weren't doing anything, basically.
Basically, the bare minimum.
Okay.
I did a little bit of rugby as well.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something
that we
can talk about.
You're in an affluent area then, right?
Yeah, I was in
Twickenham.
No,
Southwest.
Bro, they don't have rugby only in Twickenham, bro. What's wrong with you,
Yeah,
man?
well, in London they barely have it. Well, at the time when I was growing up, they didn't. Yeah, of course not. Everyone plays football. They watch football. Rugby was more of a rich man's sport.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
There's a distinction between us.
There you go,
fair
bro.
enough. Okay.
No, so I did a little bit of rugby, and that worked for my size as well, because I was big and everything. So I wasn't doing a lot of martial arts, but it's when I came to Japan that I started doing a little bit of boxing.
Okay.
And then things gradually led.
Well, now you're doing boxing properly now, right? You've been doing boxing for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
2 years now, almost.
One year.
So Loic wants to go, if possible, he wants to go pro. He's going to start with a few fights. So, is there any good boxers out there? Any heavyweight? How much you weigh? 95 kg?
Yeah, 95.
Is there any contenders out there? Send us a message.
I'm a light heavyweight.
He's a light heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight. He's got a heavy punch. So, if anyone's interested in a little sparring session or
I
a
would definitely be. Yeah, because there's not a lot of
should
heavyweights in Japan as well.
Of course, it's not enough.
If there's anyone out there who wants to do sparring, I'm up for it.
How about that?
Come see me. What did I say, bro? What was? I didn't even catch on.
No. Okay, so yeah, that's.
But how about you though? Because you've been in martial arts. That was one of the reasons you came to Japan.
Yeah. When I was young, I did judo for 2.5 years. I think it was. My mum and dad took me. I was really young. I think I was 3 to 5 years old, 3 or 4 to 6 years old. I can't remember exactly. And then I did karate for a long time with some of my closest friends. I did that for about 4 to 5 years. Yeah. Shotokan karate.
That's the one where you break stuff, no?
Yeah, exactly, but not Kyokushinkai. Kyokushinkai is the one where there's proper sparring, full contact sparring, so we didn't get to do that. And then I did Pencak Silat. I did all these other small martial arts in between. I did a bit of capoeira as well.
Are you calling Pencak Silat a small
No.
martial art?
Pencak Silat I did for a long time, right?
Are you calling it a small martial art, bro?
As in, I did it for a small amount of time. I did it for a small amount of time. Yeah, capoeira is amazing though. I loved capoeira.
You did capoeira as well?
Yeah, I did it for 6 months, yeah.
Oh, see, that doesn't
in a
count,
church
6
in Hamilton
months?
Terrace. Yeah, no. I decided to go back to Pencak Silat. I did it in between to kind of complement. So it was really interesting. And then there was and Pencak Silat I did our Bugis Makassar style, which is Indonesian, and that's it. And then after that, I was always interested in doing ninjutsu, but there was nothing available in London at the time. I'm not even sure there is now.
I'm not familiar with ninjutsu because you hear of course you're familiar with ninjas.
That's why it's so good. You don't know anything, right?
That's why it's called. That's why they're ninjas.
The secret of it, though. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think that's what you see Batman doing as well in Batman Begins, right?
Yeah.
That's what he does. He trains in ninjutsu.
I think he trains in various martial arts, though, right? I'm not sure. I like Batman, but I don't know that much about him. But
so what's the deal with ninjutsu? What do you learn?
I mean, there's Iga clan and Koga clan, and then they have basically various ninja scrolls, right? And on these scrolls they had techniques and stuff like that. And these are the things that have disappeared. So that's why there's no one really alive to be able to teach. Disappeared. Someone did that and they forgot how to get them back, so it disappeared. Okay. So exactly. But no, I did parkour as well. I did that for a couple of years, and that for me was close, right? To be able to summon someone, jump up, climb up walls, and do that kind of stuff was great. and then I had some nasty injuries. So I'm taking a break. I'm in a bit of a hiatus right now, so that's the situation, exactly. But why did you? Why? I wanted to know, like, why did you feel that you needed to do the boxing? What was the inspiration?
So,
the kind of
motivation for you? Initially, there's for me it was more about like wanting to actually fight. I actually really wanted to get to do something, but in a competitive way, and not
hurt people.
No, not harming.
Loic likes to hurt people in his spare time.
Man, everyone who knows me knows I'm the most peaceful kind of guy.
Peace.
I just don't want to hurt people, but I love competitive fighting.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do I just wanted sparring. I wanted to do a lot more sparring, and I wanted to do competitions basically with fighting sports.
Okay.
And this is how I got into boxing. This is how I got into silat as well. That took me all the way to doing like world championships and things like that. So I'm interested in just the competitive aspect of it. So for me, that's what it was. But I know there's a lot of people who start boxing or who start these sports because they don't have a choice. They need to fight. Either
like in London,
being bullied,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I did it. Yeah, so in Japan, you don't really have to protect yourself too much, because you're not in much physical danger, shall I say. In London's a different story, right? I mean, it depends on where you are. Some places are very dangerous, and some places are not so dangerous, but still, these places could be 2 streets apart from each other. So, as in the case of my place, so in northwest London. So I think that's what is the situation? Why is London so?
I mean, it's just grimy, man.
It's crazy. Well, we haven't been back. I haven't lived in London for about 10 years, and no more than that. About 12 years, right? And then and
I heard it's changed a lot.
It has, because at that time, I remember there'd be fights every day.
Sure.
I mean, you see fights in the streets, or when I say every day, I mean there's some stuff happening, right? But we would go out every few days, and it wasn't unnatural to see fights every single weekend or week or Friday evening, right? It's
like these guys fighting.
But it was punches and bottles.
Because
that was the worst.
First of all, there was a lot of drunk people.
Yeah.
People get drunk early.
Yeah, exactly.
Like at 7, 8 p.m. people are already off their bro. People are just gone, bro, at that time, bro. And so that's just, and then there's this energy. These people just want to prove themselves, or they get pissed because I don't know, you bumped into them or something like that, and then you easily get into problems or into altercations. So yeah, there was a lot of fights that I got into.
Always, especially outside pubs, right?
That's the thing.
Closing time.
It's around
closing time. Someone smashes
places.
a bottle over someone's head, or someone throws someone down the stairs. Every time, but still, that's okay. Well, that was all right, because at the end of the day, it's your fists, and all right, glass is fine. But nowadays,
now you hear a lot about stabbings.
But stabbings is not even. I mean,
acid
attacks.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man.
London has the worst acid attacks per capita. There you go. That's Loic has to pay £10. We should do that. £10 into a jar for sweat every time anyone swears.
Bro, I don't even have pounds, bro. We're in Japan, bro. Where am I going to pay pounds, bro?
1,000 yen. There you go. Let's make that a rule. That's a good idea. That's how it's going to work.
1,000 yen.
So yeah, I think it's a bit of a dangerous place these days, right? But then again, I'm saying that, and I haven't lived there for a long time, so.
Yeah, but I still hear a lot of it from people who. You don't even need to be there to hear
moped
about
gangs.
it, right? Yeah, I don't know about the moped gangs or so.
There was like since the beginning of 2019.
Yeah.
More than 30,000 moped attacks.
So people were attacking mopeds.
What do you mean, bro? No,
what are moped attacks, bro? You gotta be more clear about it.
The only reason I'm laughing at it is because that's. People have been told off a criminal offence for that before.
They've been told off.
I don't want to name names.
You've been doing moped attacks.
No. Some friends have been done for vandalism to mopeds before, right? When you get angry and you kick a moped or something like that.
Yeah, that happens.
Exactly, but that's what's funny. But no, 30,000 crimes. I'm talking about people are on mopeds, and then they'll jump off the back of a moped. 2 people on a moped. One will be driving. One will jump off the back, and then they're usually wielding machetes or even acid a lot of the time. Yeah, there's a lot of these cases, and then they will. Because there's 2 people, they can rob another biker off his bike, or they'll break into a store or break into a car. And this has happened to people I know as well.
All right, so hold on. So in that instance, how does martial art help you?
I think you're right. I mean, look, nothing. How can you prepare for a gun attack? You can't, right? But at the end of the day,
Or if you're John Wick.
yeah, if you're John Wick,
Bro.
I don't have a dog there. But no, but martial arts will give you awareness. I think at least some level of awareness,
like spatial
right?
awareness, yeah.
Spatial awareness, knowing what's going on around you,
And street
you
smart.
you
as well.
street smart as well. And then when you enter a building, when you enter a place, you're always looking for an exit. You're looking for a strategy. If things go wrong, even though it's highly unlikely to go wrong or anything bad to happen, right? I think that's one of the things. Depends on your martial art, right? But yeah, I found that helped me.
For me, I don't know. It's not so much about if something goes wrong or anything. But I feel like once you've done martial arts, you're a lot more confident.
True.
About your own abilities.
True.
And so when you are actually faced with a situation, you know how to diffuse it somehow.
Yeah, as best as possible, right?
Yeah, and you're more calm, right? I mean, if you like, for example, when I started boxing, I spent about 1 hour and a half to 2 hours in the gym every day, right? So you have to punch a bag for that, for at least half of that time.
Yeah.
And after that, you're drained. Your energy is just gone, but it's healthy, and you feel like when you come out of that, you're just.
And you know how, and that's
you don't want to fight, basically.
That's not. You know how strong you are.
That's also another point.
You
could. Yeah.
The limitation of yourself, and the power of yourself, right? If you don't train, you don't really know what you can do, right? But if you attack people, or you spar with them, and you drop them, or you can take them down, you know your abilities, right? It doesn't always play out like that in a fight. It never does play out like the way you spar with people. It never plays out in the streets, right? But then, certain maneuvers can be applied.
But then that's the thing. So you can apply this in a situation when somebody's coming, even if he's got a weapon, right? You can diffuse that situation.
Yeah. So someone comes with a machete.
Yeah, it's still like how to defend against that. Hey, wait, hold on, let's talk. Let's talk this out. No, but there's ways where you can get around it, right? Or you can, and if that's not the case, then worst comes to worst, you fight. And first thing is that you will somehow get injured.
Sure.
First thing, if somebody attacks you even with a knife or anything, and you know a little bit about movements or what you're taught in martial arts, whether it's theoretical, the first thing you know is that you will get injured. That's cool. That's just put that in your mind, and then just try to reduce the amount of injury that you get.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do, right?
I've always been an advocate for that. Everyone should be able to defend themselves to some level.
Exactly.
Women and men, and kids.
Yeah. So I think we agree there's value in martial arts for
without a doubt.
For anyone to learn,
absolutely.
to learn them in general, and but it's deplorable to see what has happened nowadays, where even those things you learn,
it's not like that
you
here in
can't
Japan,
really
is it?
use them to defend yourself in the end.
Nothing like that in Japan.
Yeah, but Japan,
it's a
little bit about Japan though. How do you feel walking in the streets, like at night, anytime here when you're walking in Japan? How do you feel?
It's totally the opposite of how it's in London. Like you're just like, what are those footsteps behind me, right?
You switch up.
Yeah, there's football. No, but in London, you're ready, right? You're tense.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, okay, someone's walking behind me. Get ready, right? It could be just a woman walking with her shopping bags, but you don't know, right? You just have to be aware. Just have a quick look, see what's going on. But in Japan, you wouldn't even bat an eyelid. There's nothing to be worried about.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to physically harm you here. Even it's not aggressive. It's not an aggressive place. Or should I say, it's more of a passive aggressive place, shall I say, right?
Yeah, that's true.
People are frustrated here for their jobs and so on. There's a number of things, but nobody wants to hurt people, right? Nobody wants to physically smash their face. And they might be thinking it. I want to screw that guy. I want to mash that guy over, right? But
and do you think that this is one of the reasons is because they have so much martial arts and so much of the philosophy of that comes out of martial arts that's infused in the culture, that they somehow overall are more peaceful?
Infused in the culture, I would say yes. I mean, the average Joe over here, right? No, I think of course the average person doesn't study any martial arts anyway, right? They might. I know in school they do. In schools they do. In schools they do when they're younger, right? But then no, because you asked like a double blade question there, right? So
no,
I think
because the bujitsu.
I think people that don't study too many martial arts here, but it is infused in the culture and spirituality, right?
I'm thinking,
people talk about the book Musashi by Yoshikawa Eiji.
Yeah.
Right, about Miyamoto Musashi.
Yeah.
They discuss the derivations of Japanese spirit. It's really interesting. Where the gaman culture. Gaman is patience, right? Being able to be patient, not lose your temper.
So that's interesting, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never read the book.
In that sense, I agree. Yeah, that does exist there. Yeah.
I never read the book though, but I remember
culture,
you were telling me a lot about this as well after reading it.
That's an amazing book. Amazing book. You should read it. Musashi, Eiji Yoshikawa.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, because I think that's what it is. Because you see it, and I think that's why most of the Japanese people in their culture somehow they just have a certain tranquility. Like you see it in the trains, you see it on the road. People just don't.
True.
You know, they're very strong when it comes to things that happen that most people would flip.
Yeah, very true.
See it happen.
Very
Like
true,
look at what happened with the earthquakes in
earthquake,
2011.
So many. Yeah, exactly.
Like devastating consequences. These guys are just like, yeah, okay. They feel it, of course. They suffer it, but they still, they maintain a sort of calmness.
Very true. Very true.
Is,
so when the big earthquake happened in 2011, it was crazy.
Yeah.
You see all these big skyscrapers just like swaying left and right. Anyway, after in the aftermath of that, there was. I remember seeing like if it happened in any other country, if there's any other disaster in almost any other country, I don't want to just compare with everyone, but basically when there's a scarcity of food and you need to stock up, what do people do? They usually run, like Black Friday. You look at Black Friday, people see sales, they're not going to last that long, so they run into the mall, they stamp on each other. Has anyone ever died in those things? I don't know.
Probably,
if I've read. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. But people just run all over, running amok, right, going crazy. And you'd expect something like that in Japan as well, because the earthquake, the nuclear reactors had split, right? Something that happened, and there was a discussion of radioactive leakage, all these kind of things that are coming out in the news. It was a very scary time. So people needed to stock up. So what's the first thing you do? Go to convenience and then start taking loads of bottles of water, taking all your tin food, tuna cans. It wasn't like that. People weren't going crazy. They all lined up in two single files, right? Double files, right? And they were waiting. And even when they got inside, they didn't take that many bottles of water. I was in one of those lines.
He was the one taking all the
bottles
of
water. Nobody else had one in my mouth. I was like,
he was drinking one and he was carrying the other one.
I didn't even queue up. I just went straight. I was like, what are these guys on? So no. But it's amazing. Yeah. So I think you're right. About that. There's something very unique about the culture here.
So in a nutshell, martial arts. Final words about martial arts. What would you say?
You start.
That's throwing the ball back on me. Alright. Martial arts is essential for developing self-awareness, for having a sense of peace, and for just being confident in who you are. And I think this is for me the main takeaway from martial arts.
Yeah. I also would agree with a lot of those sentiments.
Find your own, bro.
Yeah.
You don't agree, bro.
Ease me up, bro, man. Yeah, of course. I think martial arts is essential. I think the external elements, the hard elements, the self-defense aspects of it, I think is essential for every man, woman, and child. Depending on ideally anywhere, right? You can apply anywhere. Just being able to defend yourself in difficult situations, or defend others, right? If there's other people in trouble. To being able to step up. I can't stand it when there's problems happening with individuals and everyone keeps quiet, which happens a lot here actually, and not so much in England, so there's a plus point for England. I can't stand it, and I think that, if you've got that confidence, you can step in there and say, hey, stop messing around with that person, or give him back his money, or whatever. I think it's important to do. So, and then the internal aspects, I think you learn a lot of yourself, right? The internal aspects mean the spiritual aspects of it, right? You have your inner martial arts, maybe we can talk about this again in another podcast, but the internal martial arts are more of the breathing, understanding yourself, the spiritual aspects. I think is absolutely important, right?
We should talk. Actually, we should talk a lot about this topic. We can
absolutely,
talk about specific martial arts.
Maybe we can prepare for it a little bit better. Right? We don't prepare anything.
A little bit less off the cuff.
Yeah, exactly. But let us know what you.
Before that, though, I want to one last thing. Where to start? If you were to start a martial art, where would you start?
I'd go to the martial arts gym.
Oh my days.
This guy. What do you mean where to start?
With which martial art would you start? I'll go find a sensei. No, like where would you go to start a martial art? Okay, that was a wrong question.
No. Let's keep that question. Where would you start?
Yeah, what would be the first?
As an individual, people, right?
Yeah.
I think you need to find out where you would be able to excel at, right? Like you're a tall guy, right? You need to do somewhere you could use your reach, right?
Yeah. True.
It doesn't make sense to go and do some
use my
shoot,
strength,
flying and flow. You could do it. There are tall fighters there, but you should use your strength. Me, I like to I do like striking, but I also like grappling, right? And grappling is something that I don't have too much experience of, and that's where I'd like to, take it next, right?
Okay, so then so what you say is that understanding your strength
and limitations,
and then try to apply that and find a martial art that fits you, basically. So, if you're
or try loads and choose.
That's another point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly. So, what do you guys think about learning martial arts? Do you think it's important? What martial arts do you think are the most effective? Please let us know. We'll be interested to hear your views in the comments. Hi guys, thanks for watching.
If you enjoy this, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes. I forgot the next one.
You just have to read it, brother. That's what you need to do. You gotta read, brother.
Okay,
read it there.
Okay.
But you know what? So hold on, bruv. Stop. Rolling.
Go.
Hold on. How does it work? Who should do
It's a
what?
laptop. What do you mean? It works at AC output. What?
It's too hot.
It's too hot. Damn. Got the police and the fireman.